It's intercepted. His receiver wasn't even looking, and this is Sorensen to the end zone. I have no idea what Jared Cook was doing on that one. Straight throw. Stepping up and throwing long. Has a man downfield, and he's got it. To Marcus Robinson. Backs his way into the end zone for the touchdown. And up top.
35-3, the Chiefs over the Oakland Raiders. Back-to-back-to-back AFC West champs. It was one heck of a game. I'm Cole, and we have a co-host for the first time in the history of the podcast. It's the second show, but it still counts. Chase, how's it going?
It's going all right. As I look outside my window on January 2nd, 2019, it is a rainy day. It's supposed to rain all day long, so it's a perfect day to just sit down and talk with Cole Carmody.
Technology is crazy because in Houston, Texas, it can be rainy, but in Olathe, Kansas, it can be 20 degrees out and cold, and everything's dead. But you'd never know.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like Olathe, but
what?
January 2nd.
I was at the game on Sunday, and I have to be honest. I was nervous.
Lucky you.
I was so nervous because this Chiefs team has been so. At the beginning of the year, you're like, this. My expectations going into the season were, okay, this team can win 9 games. They can win 9 games if they make the playoffs at 9-7, like in the first season, with a new quarterback. I would be okay with that. But your expectations have to change. And so they go on these long runs, and they do so well. And, are they the best team in the AFC West? Or the Chargers? They beat the Chargers in week 1 of the season. So, in my opinion, I'm like, okay, well, they can play with them. Then they just go on these runs, and they're the best team in the AFC. Then they lose back-to-back games, and now people are questioning this and this. But I really think they came out and they were dominant against the Raiders.
I agree with that. I think they they sent a statement out like, hey, we're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, and it all comes through Arrowhead. And thank goodness that they did, because we talked about it. Chargers game pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept telling myself, everything's still out in front of us. We have the control of our own destiny. And then the Ravens beat the Chargers, and then I was perfectly content. So, thank goodness they got the number 1 seed, and I'm looking forward to see who they welcome in.
A lot of stuff changed. Like, you would have after they lost to the Chargers, it was like they got to beat Seattle, or else they're going to be the 5 seed and all this and this. But I don't know what to make of the Chargers still. They obviously they played well when they came into Arrowhead and they beat the Chiefs, but then they turn around and they lose to Baltimore. And Baltimore's a good team, but I was surprised by that, honestly.
I wasn't surprised by it in the slightest because I was telling myself I can just see the Chargers going full Charger and screwing themselves up, and then Phillip Rivers had the worst game of his career. I watched it in the corner of my eye because of where we were. I was working for Texan Live, and we had a suite at Arlington for the state championship game. And we had one of the 3 TVs going for NFL Network, and I kept watching it in the corner of my eye as I was calling North Shore. I was like, oh, man, they're really about to screw this up.
Yeah.
And thank goodness that they did. And I was in a great mood the rest of the night.
Well, that night turned out pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, it did. It was a pretty good night for me, from beginning to end.
It was interesting, and then week 17, this past Sunday was kind of weird because not a lot happened. I didn't get a chance to see the end of the Browns game, but I definitely saw everything afterwards of the Browns and the Ravens, and the Ravens almost choked.
Well, I think the biggest choke job of the year is Pittsburgh.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, going from 7-2-1 and then losing 3 in a row, including a loss to the Raiders in Oakland,
where the kicker slips.
where the kicker slips and Ben Roethlisberger says he's fine, but they don't throw him back out there. I don't get it. And then they beat New England, and then they lose in heartbreaking fashion to New Orleans, and then they watch their season slip away in the palm of their hands, basically, in Week 17 when they're watching the Ravens beat the Browns at Heinz Field. I've never seen anything like that either, where everyone in the stadium just stays around to watch the end of Browns-Ravens. And it looked for a moment that the Ravens were going to have the same thing happen to them 2 years in a row, where the Bengals just took their heart out. But I think this Ravens defense is really good, and it's going to be tough out in the playoffs. So Chargers-Ravens is going to be a fantastic game. Thank goodness Kansas City has a bye.
There's not a single AFC team that is to the point where I think, like, oh, Chiefs can't beat them. Like, there's no way they're going to beat them. But at the same time, there's not a single AFC team where it wouldn't surprise me if they lost. Like, the AFC is so balanced. It's the most
wide-open postseason I've ever seen. Both sides, both AFC and NFC, from 1 to 6, top to bottom, it is the most wide-open I've ever seen it. Now, in the NFC, I probably break it into tiers in the NFC. But, in the AFC, 1 to 6, I can see anyone winning it. Outside of the Texans, I just don't see the Texans winning 2 games in a row.
I think,
and that's because I know them more.
They might not even get out of the first round. I don't even know if they're going to beat
I think the Colts win this weekend. Excuse me. I think the Colts win this weekend.
I don't know. You're obviously around the Texans more than me, but just from an outside perspective looking in, Bill O'Brien is the luckiest coach in the NFL because he has one of the most underrated quarterbacks in Deshaun Watson. And
we're spoiled with Mahomes. Deshaun Watson
he's just as good.
Pretty darn good in himself.
I think if you put Deshaun Watson in Andy Reid's system, I don't know if he's as good as Patrick Mahomes, but I definitely think he's up there more in terms of elite quarterbacks.
I agree with that. I think Mahomes and Watson and now throw in Baker Mayfield in that equation. Yeah. I think they're carrying the AFC for the next 10 years.
That'll be fun to watch, no doubt.
But the problem with Houston is that their offensive line is just terrible. I mean, just downright garbage. It's the worst offensive line in the playoffs, and it's not even close. That's the problem I have with Houston. I love their defense with Watt and Clowney. I love Deshaun Watson. Another problem, I guess I should say, is that outside of Hopkins, you have no one else to throw to.
Now that Demaryius Thomas is out.
Demaryius Thomas is gone. Will Fuller, who Deshaun Watson loved, tore his ACL. I think it was an ACL or an ankle injury, one of the two.
Yeah.
But against the Dolphins earlier in the year, and that's what forced them to go get Demaryius Thomas, and they're both gone.
Yep.
And now they have Kiki Cutie as the guy that needs to step up.
I think, and honestly, though, you compare the Texans and the Chiefs, the Chiefs don't have any big-name receivers besides Hill, and I guess you could throw in Kelsey. But
yeah, Kelsey, I was going to say.
If you look at what Patrick Mahomes is doing with receivers, like if Alex Smith had this same receiving core, which obviously he did, he was not doing nearly as well. But Patrick Mahomes is elevated so many players. I think Demarcus Robinson right now is the number 2 receiver, and it's not even close. He's outperformed Conley and anybody else, and I think he's outperformed Sammy Watkins, quite honestly.
Cole, it's not even close. Demarcus Robinson is the third best receiver on the Chiefs. I think he's miles better than Chris Conley. Chris Conley bothers me because he has talent given to him by God, and he just does nothing. Just does nothing for me with it. Mm-hmm. But Demarcus Robinson has stepped up in a big way. You saw him with that touchdown against the Raiders. And then I think I will say this about Sammy Watkins. I guess I have a personal feeling for Sammy Watkins because I was there for his game against the Broncos. Mm-hmm. and that and that was a pretty darn good game he had.
Right.
But I think getting Watkins back. Let's just talk about how big this first round bye is.
Huge.
You get Watkins back, and then you'll probably get LDT back.
Hopefully.
At right guard.
Yep.
Because they started practicing him this week. I hope Barry's good to go. Barry.
That's a whole nother.
I mean, whatever's going on with that. If he's not good to go, I think he should just hang up the cleats. I'm not kidding.
I
hang
agree.
up the cleats if he's not good to go for the postseason.
I completely agree.
And you get other guys back, and it's going to be fun to watch, man. I can't wait to watch it because I will say this: I think you have seen not a drastic drop, but I think you've seen just a little step back when Sammy Watkins is not active. Because you saw it after the Rams game just a little bit. He makes a little bit of difference. He adds just an extra gear to this offense.
I think without Sammy Watkins, you take the Raiders game out, Patrick Mahomes hasn't really been stretching the field as much, and a lot of the times it's because the teams are forced to double cover Tyreek Hill. They have a corner and a safety over the top. But when you have Sammy Watkins,
he's going to throw to Kelvin Benjamin. Give me a break.
I mean, it adds another deep threat because Demarcus Robinson is more of a possession receiver, and he's had a great. I think he's had a great year, but he's not the deep threat. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the speed that Watkins has. And when Watkins gets the ball, he runs the ball like a running back. And I know Andy Reid's talked about that before. So yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't do that much, I still think getting him back for the playoffs adds another element and just makes the players around him better.
I agree with that completely, and this offense, man, I think it's better than the 03 offense in terms of personnel, and it was hard to beat that 03 offense with Green and Holmes and Gonzalez. But I will. You asked me. You answered me this. Have you thought of Kareem Hunt at all since they let him go?
This is my feeling on this. Who would have thought in a million years that Damian Williams would have done as well as he's doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't. Normal everyday Chiefs fans. Kareem Hunt gets released. Dang, that sucks. Well, we know we have Spencer Ware. Well, then Spencer Ware gets hurt, and you're like, dang. We have Darrell Williams, Damian Williams. Like, who are these guys? And Damian Williams comes in, does a great job, gets a contract extension. I think
good for Damian Williams.
Exactly.
Man. I'm happy for him.
That's making the most of your opportunity. And you get Spencer Ware back healthy for the playoffs. He just adds another element of a downhill runner. I thought Damian Williams did a great job. I will take those three
running backs with me, Ware, Darrell Williams, and Damian Williams with Mahomes any day of the week. Bring it on.
Yep.
Is my. I'm serious. I haven't thought of Kareem Hunt since they let him go. While watching these games, I've never thought, crap, I wish we had Kareem Hunt.
It just, even when he was on the Chiefs, people were saying, oh, Kareem Hunt, he hasn't rushed as for many yards, he hasn't caught as many passes, and obviously he's a dynamic player. There's no arguing that, but he wasn't doing everything that he did last year, and the drop off hasn't been as noticeable. I don't think
there's been no drop off, Cole. I haven't seen it at all. I don't think the finals. Let me say this: I don't think the final score changes whatsoever in the games that Kareem Hunt has missed if he plays.
I agree. Well, we all know that it's the defense more than anything else. And that's going to be the key to the playoffs. I think when you look at the other teams, they might not have as good of an offense, but I think it's fair to say that every single team in the AFC has a better defense than the Chiefs.
I'd say that I can agree with that.
If the Chiefs defense play like they did against the Raiders, it's the Raiders. Correct. They're 3-13. There's two schools of thought. The defense should have played like that against the Raiders because it's the Raiders.
Right.
or it's, oh, where has this defense been all along? Like, this is the defense that we thought we had. Not giving up 3 points, but getting to the quarterback and causing turnovers, which is honestly what Bob Sutton has done since he's been with the Chiefs. People can talk about firing him all they want, but when you don't have the personnel, it's hard to do anything. And
I agree with that.
That is on the front office, in my opinion. Nothing they can do about it now,
You're
but
right.
they just have to move forward.
I like this Ward kid that they got from Dallas. I thought he played really well against the Raiders, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in the playoffs. I've said it all along. This Chiefs team reminds me a lot of the 2000s Colts. And what I mean by that is the offense is unstoppable. They score at ease, and then their defense's job is to get sacks and commit turnovers.
Yep.
And so, what frustrates me about this Chiefs defense is that they are first in sacks in the league.
Yeah.
They're first in sacks.
31st in total defense, something like that. But
Yeah,
first in sacks.
they're first in sack. How is that I'm still beside myself. How they have D4, Justin Houston, and Chris Jones, who I think, outside of Aaron Donald, is the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL. And they're 31st. I don't get it. It's frustrating, man.
Yep. Hey,
Reggie Ragland got fat. Anthony Hitchens, I don't know what happened to him. Because I thought that was a great signing from Dallas. And then he just
hasn't panned out.
And then he just stopped caring.
These guys,
I don't know.
The interior, the front seven, the front five actually. You take the front five. I'll put that front five up against any other team in the NFL.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
From the linebackers back,
the back six, God help
awful.
you.
I mean, Reggie Ragland and Anthony Hitchens. Anthony Hitchens leads the team in tackles, but he leads the team in tackles because he gets blocked 6 yards back from the line of scrimmage and makes the tackle.
He's a Pro Bowler, Cole. Don't talk about it.
Don't even get me started on. Don't even get me started on that. Oh my goodness! All right, so I'll leave you out with this. What game are you most looking forward to? And give me your predictions for the wild card weekend.
The game I'm most looking forward to this wild card weekend. All four of them will be great games and fun to watch. The one I'm looking forward to the most is Eagles-Bears. I am so fascinated by that matchup. It's Peterson against Nagy.
Yep.
Two Andy Reid disciples in Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy. Both of them have done tremendous jobs with their organizations. Can Nick Foles do this crap again? And if so, what does the NFL do about Nick Foles? What do the Eagles do about Nick Foles?
Saint Nick.
Exactly. The Bears defense. We were talking about defenses. The Bears defense is not only the best defense I've seen this year, but the most fun defense to watch.
Mm-hmm.
They roam around, make tackles, can force turnovers, and how about that Khalil Mack trade, which so far this year has been the trade of the NFL?
Oh yeah.
And Brett Veach texted Matt Nagy when it happened. You made the Kansas City Chiefs better today, which he was right. Which he was right about. And Mitchell Trubisky can shut a lot of people up.
He can
because I still cannot believe. I think Matt Nagy should be Coach of the Year. I cannot believe Matt Nagy, even though the defense is fantastic, he squeezed out 12-4 with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. I can't believe it.
Mitch Trubisky, that guy, if his NFL career didn't pan out, could you imagine the type of hate that he would take? The type of hate the Bears would take?
Gosh.
Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes in the same draft, and he's the
Deshaun
number one
Watson and Patrick Mahomes 8 picks later. Yep. And they actually traded up to get Trubisky.
Yep. Damn. I don't know.
I still didn't get it at the time. I don't even get it. I don't get it even more so now.
I think this weekend, I think the Eagles are playing good. I think the Bears defense is great. But how can you not pick with the the Super Bowl, defending Super Bowl champions. I know they had to squeeze it out, but they got their guy playing quarterback right now, and I just think they have a real good chance to beat the Bears.
But now, as of right now, I was about to say the Bears. Now, after thinking about it, I want to say the Eagles. Man, it's going to be a close
It's
game.
going to be the best game of the weekend.
I'll take. You know what? I'll take Philadelphia with you. I think I'll take Philadelphia. I think Nick Foles is going to play well. The Eagles back on track, and they're doing it at the perfect time.
Yep.
I'll take the Eagles too, even though it's going to be a close, great game. I think it's going to be like 20-17 type of game.
Yep. And then in the other side on the NFC, you got the who you got? Oh, let's see. I'm drawing a blank. You got the
Seahawks
and the Cowboys. Seahawks and the Cowboys. There is no way that the Cowboys blow this, right? I mean, they've been playing so good. Is Jason Garrett going to Jason Garrett and lose in the first round of the playoffs again?
I don't think he will. I think I'll take the Cowboys here. I think Dak takes care of the football, plays pretty well. And I think Ezekiel Elliott does Ezekiel Elliott things. He's well rested. And he runs all over the Seahawks on Saturday night. I will take Cowboys by 10.
Cowboys by 10. AFC side, we talked about it. What's your... I'm taking the Colts over the Texans.
I am too.
I think you agree with that one. I don't know if this game will even be that close, quite honestly. The Colts are just playing too good right now. And they beat Houston in Houston already.
I think it'll be close, but I think for most of the game, you'll feel like Indianapolis has control of it.
If they lose, is Bill O'Brien fired?
No, I think they give him. I think he's got that job for as long as he wants it. Why? I have no idea, but I think he has that job for as long as he wants it because the Texans are his baby. He runs that show from top to bottom. He's like Gruden, but better.
Chargers, Ravens.
What a game. I am taking the Chargers in this one because they're facing Lamar Jackson for the second time. And they're facing Lamar Jackson for the second time in 3 weeks.
Yep.
And I think that helps. You got to think that helps with preparation, no?
I think all you need to say is Phillip Rivers is on one side and Lamar Jackson is on the other side, and it's the playoffs.
I agree. I know. I agree with that, but there's no way this is sustainable.
I agree
with what the Ravens are doing. I mean, they came into Arrowhead and threw it 15 times. There's no way that's sustainable in this NFL.
The Baltimore Ravens are like the Denver Broncos when they had Tim Tebow. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is like Tim Tebow.
I agree. That's a perfect comparison.
But you're right. There's no way it's sustainable. No way.
That's a perfect comparison.
So I'm taking the Chargers as well.
All right. So are we the same across the board?
We are. We have the Cowboys, the Eagles. You were gonna take the Bears, but then
I was gonna take the Bears, and then I just thought, yeah. I guess I'm thinking about it from a TV ratings perspective because I want to see Cowboys at Rams on Saturday night because I think that'd be like bonkers.
That definitely would be. Well, I think we got some stuff figured out now. We said all these picks and everything in the reverse is going to happen, so it's okay.
Exactly. Watch us go 0 for 4.
No kidding. Well, Chase, I appreciate you coming on. And
no problem, man.
Look forward to talking to you again.
Yes, sir.
Go Chiefs, baby.
Go Chiefs.